Hi investors, JJ here. Welcome back. Well, we've got Tom Lee today talking about Bitcoin versus gold briefly, and also Anthony Scaramucci, the mooch, talking about it as well. Remember him from the brief stint he did with the Trump administration and got fired. So let's see what they've got to say about this.
I think Bitcoin's 60,000, give or take. Gold has been hitting new highs, obviously. I think we showed a chart the other day. Kelly was trying to tell me she had been right
about the disconnect.
No, about gold being a bet. So we looked at it over the last 5 years, or I don't know how many years, but gold was up 90% and Bitcoin was up 13,000%.
Okay,
that was
a big difference
that we looked at. So I mean,
difference.
Gold is moving, and it's moving not in a correlated fashion with risk on, whereas Bitcoin definitely looks like it's just a
Does that ever switch?
I think it can. I mean, Bitcoin is just sort of got two functions, right? Because it is a risk-on asset, but I think it's an important protection against systematic risk.
Do you ever want it to be correlated to gold?
I think Bitcoin is digital gold, so I think it's replacing gold over time.
Okay, replacing gold over time. He's got some big predictions for Bitcoin. The Bitcoin price well over 100,000, well over that. I think he said 100,000 before the end of the year. I think he said it before. He does revise things quite a bit, but he did say there it's a risk-on asset, and it has been like that. When the Nasdaq goes up, it's tended to go up and down just more. When Bitcoin goes up more than the Nasdaq and down more than the Nasdaq, so definitely risk-on asset. It has been. Will it settle down? Peter Thiel. I've made a video on this channel about Peter Thiel saying he doesn't think the Bitcoin price is going to go up too much more from here. It's going to be less volatile. He still owns some, but he's sold some. What do you think about that? Let me know. So that's what Tom Lee thinks of Bitcoin here. He does think it's going to replace gold. Gold's been on quite a run lately. It's having a good year at the moment. Anyway, this not finished with his comments. Let's see what he's got to say. Then we'll get to Anthony Scaramucci.
So eventually it should act like gold, which means that it shouldn't have the kind of meteoric rise that we're talking about here.
Well, it depends on what the dollar does, because there could be a day that dollar could debase, and then you'd want to own a lot of Bitcoin or gold. But, I mean, to me, the fact that gold's rising is showing you there's still a lot of fear out there. I mean, I think gold is almost a measure of the bearish sentiment, and that's why I think stocks still have upside.
Interesting. Yeah, the fear. Gold does tend to run when there's fear, like the global financial crisis. It has tended to go on a run, sometimes not do much for a while, and then go on a run for a while. And it is going on somewhat of a run. If you look back over the past 5 years, it's done pretty well.
Can we talk politics for just 1 second? Do you have an election?
Okay, I think we'll leave it there because they're just going to talk politics. We want to focus on Bitcoin. So let's go to Anthony Scaramucci, who's at Jackson Hole.
Now from Jackson Hole this morning. Not at the Fed meeting, but really just right there anyway. Blockchain Symposium. Anthony Scaramucci is joining us, SkyBridge Capital. I assume they did this and put it right there in Jackson Hole so that these things could be next to each other.
Yeah, that was an idea for one of my partners, John Dorsey, actually said, hey, why don't we have a decentralized banking conference near the Fed Central Banking Conference? We did invite some Fed people, but Andrew, as you would imagine, they said no to that. But we did get Senator Lummis, and Tim Scott was here. Jay Clayton was here. We had a very strong, following of C-suite level crypto industry players, and it was great. It was a great event. We're here at the Four Seasons, which is a little more bougie than where the Fed is.
A little bit more bougie where the Fed is. So what does he think about Bitcoin as value? It's going to be interesting to see. If you're getting value out of this episode so far, do remember to smash that like button to help the algorithm to spread it to more people. I really appreciate that. Thanks.
But it's been a lot of fun. And I think the good news is you're talking about Bitcoin. So I think the good news is the overhang of supply seems to be ending, which is good news for Bitcoin in the back half of this year.
We did talk to Tom Lee earlier in the broadcast just about the divergence between Bitcoin and gold and what that says about the market and what that says about Bitcoin. What do you think it says?
I mean, I didn't hear that, but I'm interested in what Tom says because he's obviously very prescient. But I don't make much of it right now. I know the big gold bugs are saying Bitcoin hasn't moved in 2 years, and gold has gone up about 30%. So therefore, it's a better store of value than Bitcoin. I've always maintained, when speaking to you guys, I don't see Bitcoin as a store of value today. I still see it as an early adopting technology. Could it be a store of value if there's over 1 billion wallets? Sure, we could look at it that way. Is it a future store of value? Yes. But I just think that you've had a lot of things going on with Bitcoin as it relates to the regulatory headwinds. The Grimace coin thing is not something I'm a fan.
Okay, so talking about there that he does think it's a store of value in the future, possibly, but more of an emerging technology still. It's been around for quite a long time, but incredibly volatile. So he does think it could be like digital gold in the future, I'm taking there. And Tom Lee does think it's like that now, but definitely a risk-on asset. So they're pretty similar in views here, really, although Scaramucci doesn't think that it's quite a store of value yet, but it will be in the future.
Fan of, have to totally understand why the SEC wouldn't like that. I just want those types of things not to cloud some of the great things that are happening in the industry. You know, there's payments and rail systems on Bitcoin and other layer 1 technologies that will advance our economies. You know, if we're spending $6-7 trillion a year on transactions and verification of transactions, this could reduce those costs the same way we've reduced a lot of telecom costs and improved innovation and efficiencies in the economy. So, listen, I like gold. I have no problem with gold. I own some gold, Andrew. But I've made we've pivoted our business, as you know, 3-4 years ago into Bitcoin and other digital assets like Solana.
Yeah, so he does own both of these things, but obviously much more invested intellectually and, you know, in real terms in Bitcoin. It's obvious he's pivoted his business there, so he has a vested interest for sure, literally in that. Well, what do you think about this? Do you think that this that which one is better? Obviously, younger generations think that Bitcoin's better, but gold is going on a run. Is there a place for both, or do you think that Bitcoin is replacing gold like Tom Lee thinks? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested to know about this. And by the way, I have got the special offer for my viewers here to ShareSite, which is a portfolio tracking and reporting tool, which includes Bitcoin there. You'll see that symbol there. You can bring all of your assets into one place, whatever they are. If you've got different brokers, if you have Bitcoin ETF or whatever it is, you can bring them into your portfolio and track your true performance over time. You can sign up for free here to check it out and get some basic features there. It's pretty good for free. And also, but the special offer for premium there, you can track your true performance and check this video out on the landing page. I'll put a link in the description there if you want to check that out. And thanks for joining me today. Thanks for your company. I'll put a link on screen to what YouTube thinks that you should watch next. So go and see that now if you want to. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one.